Hello, good day. Um, we want to um, talk about some. We want to look at a story in the Bible that appears to be controversial. That's the story of the death of Uzzah. If you remember who Uzzah is, he's the guy who tried to, prevent the Ark of the Covenant from falling. And so, because of that singular act, he was struck dead. So, once we look at, why, you would say, was just trying to, trying to help God. As you know, this is um, a Bible trivia channel, and we look at the Bible, we look at the Word of God, quizzes, trivia, and all. So, let's unravel the reason behind God's action. Why was Uzzah struck dead, actually? So, with me is my husband, yeah, and so he will be telling us, I'll be asking him some questions, and he'll be, sharing with us what actually is the thing behind the death of Uzzah. So,
Okay, so thank you very much. I think the death of Uzzah happens to be one of the most misunderstood events in the Bible.
okay,
I've had several people, atheists, people saying, "Oh, how can a God who is supposed to be a loving father, you know, kill someone who is just trying to help? It doesn't make
yeah,
sense.
mm-hmm.
If God is such a loving father, he should have understood the action of the young man who was trying to prevent the
The
Ark
ark
of
from
Covenant
falling.
from falling. So to us as human beings, it doesn't make any logical sense because this is a guy who is trying to work for God, do something for God, because he's passionate about the things of God, and so he wants to get things done. But for us to fully understand God's action, I want us to, you know, go back to the story itself.
Okay,
Uh, so it happened that the Ark of Covenant was lost in a battle with the Philistine, and then he stayed with them for many years. At first, it was um, it was with them for many years. I think he
I
stayed,
think even about 20 years or
yes,
so.
yeah, thereabout, and then it cost them a lot of havoc and all that, and then they had to return it.
Yeah,
You know, first they returned it to a place called Beshemesh. It was there for about 7 months, and then from there it came to a place that is called Kajat Jearim,
yeah,
you know,
that's just Jeremy.
and it was there for 20 years. So at this point in time, David was already the king of unified Israel. He wasn't ruling Judah anymore, he was the king of unified Israel. And so he thought it wise to go and bring the ark back to Jerusalem, back to Israel, where the king dwells. And so he gathered all the elders of Israel, and then with fanfare, with music, with so much excitement. Then up they went to Kajajarim, to go and bring the ark down to Jerusalem. Now this ark was in the house of a man known as Abinadab,
Yeah, yeah,
and then Abinadab had two sons, Ahio and Uzzah.
Uzzah, yeah,
Now, as they were transporting the ark from the house of Abinadab, his two sons, Ahio and Abinadab, were the one driving the carts. They put the ark on a cart and then they were pulling it. You understand that kind of a thing. And then as the horse that was pulling the cart stripped, and then the ark was falling off the cart, and then the young man reached out to it and tried to prevent the
the ark
ark
from
from
falling.
falling. And then the Bible says God struck him dead.
Dead.
Now, I want us to understand some things. That is, if you read that place in Second Samuel 6, Second Samuel 6, when you read verse 6 and 7, it says God struck him dead for his error. No, the Bible says for his
Second
error.
Samuel 6.
Yeah, so it must be an error indeed. It must be an error because, in actual fact, if you go back to the basis, it was an error. So he struck him dead at that instance. But why did God have to do that?
Sorry,
Why?
can we read that place?
Second Samuel, yeah, Second Samuel,
6. 6
Second
was
Samuel 2.
okay, Second Samuel 2. Yeah.
Then you read verse 6 and 7.
Verse 6 and 7. Okay. It says, "And now may the Lord show kindness and truth to you. I also will repay you."
No, is that Second Samuel?
Yeah.
2, verse 6 and 7.
Yeah.
No, that's not, I don't think that's the place.
Okay.
So, right. It's just about, God striking the young man dead. And then, but why did God have to do that? Let's look at the importance of the Ark of Covenant. The Ark of Covenant wasn't just a ceremonial artifact. It represents the very presence of the Lord, the very presence of God. It embodies the power of God. You understand? And so it's not something that can be treated with levity. So regarding that, God gave very specific rules regarding the Ark of Covenant. And when you read Numbers 4, I read Numbers 4:15.
Numbers
4:15.
4:15. "And when Aaron and his sons have finished covering the sanctuary and all the furnishing of the sanctuary, when the camp is set to go, then the sons of Kohath shall come to carry them, but they shall not touch any holy thing, lest they die. These are the things in the tabernacle of meeting." Okay.
So we can see from that place that the ark wasn't something that is just ceremonial. It has strict regulations, especially when it comes to transportation.
Yeah.
Now, from that place we read, we can point out three things. One, it must be carried by a specific group of people. The Bible mentioned the sons of Kohath. Now, who are the Kohathites or the sons of Kohath? Now, remember that Jacob had 12 sons, and a tribe was set apart to serve at the altar, to be priest, the Levites.
Sons of Levi.
Now,
Yeah.
Levi himself had 3 sons. I want you to follow this story.
Yeah.
The Levites are supposed to be serving on the altar, to be priests. Moses, Aaron, they are Levites. And then Levite himself also had 3 sons. And these 3 sons, they had specific roles that they must perform in the tabernacle. Some are to clean the elements, in the tabernacle. Some are supposed to carry the Ark of Covenant. So after the 3 sons of Levi, the specific tribe that is supposed to carry the Ark of Covenant is the Kohathites.
Okay.
You understand? So the Bible said that the Kohathites should carry the Ark of Covenant. It should be carried not on a cart, not to be pulled. The Bible said that it had to be carried on a pole inserted through golden rings attached to its sides. So like you put the rings in the hole, then you put it on your shoulder, on both sides, two men, some group of people have to carry it to their shoulder and not to be pulled on a cart. So, but maybe I would say the Levites or King David or the people who are in charge there
didn't have understanding of that.
Or they forgot, or it's because of the joy, they were momentarily lost, in the euphoria of, this ark is back after such a long 20 years. Some generation don't even know what the ark look like, because 20 years is a very long time. Who know, maybe Uzzah himself is just 20 years or below. you know. So the excitement was there, and then he accompanied the ark to Jerusalem. So first offense was that it was not supposed to be pulled by cart. It was to be carried on the shoulder with
The poles,
pole,
the ring poles.
ring poles attached to the sides. Right, first. Secondly, it's not supposed to be touched by human hand directly.
Hmm.
You understand? So the Bible said that as the Ark of Covenant was trying to fall off, Uzzah reached out to it by his hands,
Yeah.
his bare hands,
To help.
it. It's not supposed to be touched directly by human hand. And then thirdly, like I said earlier, it was supposed to be carried by the Kohathites. So some Bible scholars have argued that it is possible that Uzzah is not from the tribe of Kohath who are supposed to carry the Ark of Covenant. So those three things led to Uzzah's death. One, the Ark is supposed to be pulled by a cart. It is to be carried on the shoulder with ring pole inserted by the side. Secondly, it's not supposed to be touched by human hands. And thirdly, only the Kohathites are permitted to carry it.
Yeah, so sorry to cut you. When we were looking for the other time, that Bible text is 2 Samuel 6:6-7.
Oh, six to
Yes,
seven.
6-7. And when they came to Nachon's threshing floor, Uzzah put out his hand to the ark of God and took hold of it, for the oxen stumbled. Then the anger of the Lord was aroused against Uzzah, and God struck him there for his error, and he died there by the ark of God.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So this is, that scene, that story, that event. It's not a one-off thing. Is a combination of many factors. It wasn't just because Uzzah touched it that he died. You know, they say uh, because you are used to something over time, maybe it lost its
Familiarity.
Yeah, familiarity. They say breeds
Contempt. Yeah.
This act has been in Uzzah's his father's house for a long time.
Yeah.
Possibly he sees the ark every day. He plays around it. He didn't count it as anything because he's so familiar with the ark. You understand?
Yeah.
But like they say in Nigeria language, they say see finish.
Yeah.
See finish. So he felt that he could just touch the ark and then like
Nothing
any
would
other day,
happen.
like any other person. And do you know that when the Philistine carried the ark away, they actually touched it and nothing happened to them.
Yeah.
Of course, something happened. There were a lot of havocs, but it happened not because they touched it. It was because they were trying to defy the God of Israel and all that. So trying to ridicule God. The Bible said that they even put in the hands of their idol.
Yeah.
You understand? That was why they had a lot of chaos, not because they actually touched it. It can be forgiven that those people, they are not Jew, they don't know about the Lord, they don't know about the Yahweh, the God of Israel and all that. But this man is a Jew who supposed to have the understanding of the law. You understand? Now, for me, the most important lesson I learned from this story is that there are quite a number of them. I'll just mention about maybe one or two or three. You see, good intention alone is not enough. Good intention alone is not enough. Whatever thing you want to do must be in absolute obedience to God. Good intention that is in direct, that is a direct affront on the authority of God will be punished. So the fact that you have good intention, it's not enough. That is why if good intention alone is enough, every good person in the world should go to heaven. You understand?
Yeah.
People who don't steal, who don't smoke, who don't womanize, who don't take things that doesn't belong to them, we should all go to heaven because morally we are good, But being good is never enough.
It's not enough, yeah.
So the same thing applies there. You understand? Good intention that is in disobedience will be punished. So we look at that story with so much emotion that, oh, this young man was unjustly killed by God and all that because he had good intention. Let's look at the context. That good intention, does it bring glory to God? It was an act of ridiculing God's instruction, His power and authority. Because God already said, don't do this, don't touch it. Then you say you are touching it with good intention. Like you say you are disobeying with good intention. Does that sound logical? You are disobeying with good intention. You are disobeying Almighty God with good intention. That's number one lesson. Number two lesson for me is that we can't help God. Humans, we can't help God. And of course, whatever God will want to do on earth, we need humans, to do it. But then, He can't. If He's going to use human, it doesn't have to be you. You could just use anybody. You understand? So, in quotes, we can't help God. God is all sufficient. God
He's sovereign.
He says, if people refuse to praise me, I can raise stones to praise me. And then number three is that, and I think this is very, very, very important. The death of Uzzah, who should we blame it on? Should we blame it on Uzzah himself? But I want to look at the role of King David in the death of Uzzah.
Okay.
King David was the king, the custodian of the law, to teach the people of Israel the law. Now, King David gathered these people and then said they should go and bring this ark covenant. Perhaps he didn't take his time to sort out the tribe that's supposed to carry it, or to teach them the law that governs the transportation.
Right way, yes. Right way to carry that.
After the whole event, after the death of Uzzah, the Bible said that even David himself was angry, and he called the name of the place Perusa, meaning outburst against Uzzah. But David did something. He stopped the procession. Everybody went back to their houses. They went to bury Uzzah, and after some time, David did the right thing, gathered the right people, told them on the right way to carry the Ark of Covenant. And then after that, he brought the Ark back to Jerusalem in the correct way. But somebody's life has been lost because a leader fails to do his job well.
And then he was even still afraid. He didn't take it to the temple.
You understand?
He took it to Obed-Edom's house.
It's telling. It's very telling that many Christians don't even know God for themselves. The same way Uzzah didn't know the law for himself, allowed himself to be killed. If he had known the law, possibly he would have handled it differently, because he didn't know the law, and so he died, a preventable death. So many of us as believers, we didn't take the time to know the law, which is the Bible. It's whatever our pastors say. It is whatever we read on social media. It is whatever, a popular pastor on the internet says. That's what we follow. We don't know God first by ourselves. And sometimes this leader, they go back to God, ask God for mercy, and then the wrong thing they have told us, that's what we are running with. We are running with it. Meanwhile, these people, they have even repented, but we are still living on the wrong thing they have taught us. So as believers, do you know the Bible for yourself? Do you know the God you serve? Do you take time to know God's minds on matters before you form an opinion? Eventually, David actually led to the death of somebody, but David himself did not get punished directly.
Yeah.
It's like they will say in Nigeria that don't allow people to use your head to break coconuts. Uzzah allowed himself his own head.
Don't allow Nigeria to happen to you.
Yes, he allowed his head he allowed coconuts to be broken on his head, and he lost his life, in that manner. So these are the reasons why not biblically according to the Bible, why Uzzah was killed. And not because God was a wicked God, not because God was trying to prove himself, not because he didn't like Uzzah, you understand? But God is a holy God. You know, his words must be preserved at all times. So he will not allow anything, you know, to bring down his authority and his power just because they are his people, they are Jew, and so what? So we must live our life in reference and in perfect obedience to the living God. So I believe you've gotten your answer as to why Uzzah was killed. Not because God was wicked, but because he was good in disobedience. Let me put it that way. You know, he was trying to be good, and that goodness was
It's
a
actually a
direct.
disobedience to God.
You understand? So yeah, that's it.
Okay, so thank you very much. Well, I can also call this like making a case for God, right? So thank you so much for shedding light on this. Um, we will be bringing you more of sessions like this. We'll be going live, from time to time, and you know,
Treating topics that
treating
appear
topics, yeah, that appear
controversial.
controversial, to speak. Topics that appear controversial, and going back to the Bible, looking at the context, history, things that had happened, before that time. So, thank you for joining us. See you
Bye. Please
later.
subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this channel. Subscribe to this channel. Love you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.